This is the first ban list in quite a while in a Master Duel that is actually gonna change a lot. If you still need a beautiful playmat, go to zerodamagegaming.com and use the code Solemn for a discount. There's also beautiful deck boxes. So right here, cards to be unlimited. We have Nadir Servant from 2 to 3. This is fine. This is slight branded buff and, you know, Dogmatica buff, but I think branded is really the one that gets something out of it. But there's gonna be a branded nerf that you will see that I think completely fucks this buff. So we'll see. Ancient Fairy Dragon from 1 to 3. Kinda whatever. This card was a 0 off for almost every deck and a 1 off in others. At 3, this changes nothing. Then we have Girsu from 2 to 3. This is a pretty cool buff for Orcus decks and other dark piles, so I like it. I definitely like it. Then we have cards to be semi-limited. From 1 to 2, we have Blaster, Dragon Ruler of Inferno. So this is a Dragon Ruler buff, but really no one was playing this card. I think even if you put all Dragon Rulers to 3 today, it wouldn't really do that much. They're very old cards. Back in the day, they were of course broken, but right now it doesn't really matter. Also, Blaster is obviously not the stronger one of the dragons. You know, once we get the water or the earth back, we might talk, but right now this doesn't really do anything. Pot of Extra from 3 to 2. So this is a Labyrinth nerf, and of course other non-extra decks, but I think Labyrinth is really the deck that is the most relevant that was running this card. So okay, that's not great for them. They do like some pots, you know, they like to run Pot of Prosperity, Pot of Extravagance, so now they only have a 2 and 1 of those, let's say. Then we have Draco Slayer from 1 to 2. Okay, I don't really think that matters. I think Pendulum is still just gonna Pendulum. They set up a crazy FTK board going first sometimes, or they get drolled and pass on nothing. And here, you know, going second, they can't really do much, and this is not really changing anything about that. But if you're a Draco Slayer / Pendulum fan, this is great for you. Cards to be limited. This is where I'm crying. We have Branded Fusion from 2 to 1. So you've basically destroyed a lot of their follow-up and also reduced their consistency even more. I think Branded is, you know, starting to lose basically all of their starters, and now with Branded Fusion from 2 to 1, you're basically gonna have to reset the card, add it back with Despian Tragedy's graveyard effect, because you can no longer Albion add a second copy on the next turn. So a lot of your follow-up gets hurt. Now every single line will have to include Despian Tragedy, assuming you want to do anything on turn 2, which definitely hurts. You know, the best lines right now send Lubellion, the Light, into Albion and doing like a combo, getting Branded Lost and all of that. That is gone now. You're gonna have to send Despian Tragedy in order to get your Branded Fusion back next turn. So that is a huge nerf to the deck. Now, I'm not saying this kills the deck. Even in the OCG, Branded Fusion is also at 1, and they are still able to make some mean boards, and they, you know, use some other lines in order to still have follow-up, but it definitely hurts. Then we have That Grass Looks Greener from 2 to 1. This hurts my soul. I love 60 card piles. You know, I just love that ridiculousness, and now, with only 1, do you even want to play 60 just for this one-off? I mean, some decks have so much gas in that 60 that they will still do it, but this definitely hurts. Personally, I would love to see this card at 3. I know it's toxic, I don't care, I just have a lot of fun with this. And if we're honest, usually the 60 card versions aren't the best versions of the deck, except for Branded Tier in my opinion. Then we have Kelbeck the Ancient Vanguard from 2 to 1. So this is a Tearlaments hit. This means that right now, you have less of the millers. That is definitely going to hurt. This is also a decent hand trap, but mostly it's the milling. So this is a Tearlaments nerf, but trust me, there's gonna be way worse Tearlaments nerfs. This is the least of your worries. Now, Sprite fans also have an issue. We have Sprite Jet from 2 to 1 and Swap Frog from 2 to 1. So now you need to really start considering if playing this is even worth it to you. And Sprite Jet, I mean, your engine just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. I think at one point, all the Sprite cards are going to be at 1, to the point where a Sprite deck doesn't exist and it will just be an engine splashed into other bigger piles. Personally, I'm fine with that. I've now played with Sprite cards for over a year. Kind of tired of them, but I do really enjoy the engine, so it's kind of sad as well. Cards to be forbidden. This is where we go crazy. So first of all, Rongo is banned. Now, to be fair, I don't think there were any really good Rongo decks anyway, but it's still a toxic card. It's great that it's gone. Agido banned, however. That is huge. So now Tearlaments in Master Duel only has 1 miller. Only 1. Kelbeck is at 1. Agido is banned. So that's a tough Tearlaments hit. We're basically going to see only, what, 3 Ishizu cards now in the Tearlament deck, which is even less than in the TCG, actually. But of course, we still have Kid Kalos. Then we have Bish Balkin being banned. This is, of course, to stop the FTKs from happening. So that's just good. I mean, no one's using Bish Balkin for anything good. It's always some degenerate combo. So that's great that that's gone. Then we see Block Dragon gone. So this card is now banned. This card, of course, was part of like Adamancipator, doing ridiculous stuff. There's other rock decks right now in the OCG, as far as I'm aware, or at least like last month or so, that were doing pretty well. Usually, again, doing hand loop, degenerate stuff. Block Dragon was never really part of any, like, normal deck. It was always infinite follow-up for some ridiculous combo pile. So I understand. Of course, I like the Block Dragon. I think there's a lot of people who will be angry because they like those degenerate strats, but it's gone. I'm sorry. Now, the next hit is the one that I think is the biggest. I think this hit is actually gonna change the Master Duel meta for real, for real. And that is Tearlaments Merly is banned. So Tearlaments, of course, it has been the best deck for such a long time, and now they officially lost one of their names. This is something that has not happened in the OCG or the TCG. In the TCG, definitely not. That I know. In the OCG, I'm pretty sure not either. Of course, I don't play that format, but I play a lot of Tearlaments in TCG, and that is a huge hit. Because now every single turn ceiling has basically been reduced 33%, which is just so crazy. Also, you can no longer do Sprint, and you can no longer do Kitkalos, Search Merly, Special Summon Merly to make a Sprite Elf, and then Sprite Elf bringing back Merly. All of those plays are gone, so your Sprint now sucks. You probably have to cut Elf. You lose one of your fusions every single turn. You lost 2 of your total names, meaning you're gonna fuse less consistently. I'm not saying Tearlament is gonna be dead. I think Tearlaments as an engine is still absolutely insane. Oh, this also kills the Draco Sack line with Sprint, so if you were trying to play like Kashtira Tearlaments, GG as well. But I do think this stops Tearlaments from being the best deck right now, because it was already starting to get closer, right? We already started seeing that deck became less consistent, Dragon Link started putting up good boards, and the Bystials were already starting to hurt, Branded also being good with the Bystials and so forth. We already saw Tearlaments from being like this completely ridiculous unbeaten deck down to strong, but not by a massive mile. But now, you also basically said, if you Bystial me once, my turn is gonna suck. If you Bystial me twice, my turn does nothing. And I think that basically puts Tearlaments down from being the tier 0 best deck. I think Tearlaments is now gonna be one of the weaker tier 1 decks, maybe worse than that. Personally, I'm gonna try and play Tearlaments inside bigger piles, which I was already doing for fun, but now I kind of feel like you're forced to. I think Tearlaments is gonna be part of bigger piles and will no longer be its own deck. That's a hot take, because it might just still be the best deck 2 months from now. Who knows, you know? But I think if it's not a final nail in the coffin, it is a very, very painful nail. I'm a Tearlament fan, but I understand. In Master Duel, it's been too long, you know? It's been too long. So that is all. I hope you found this interesting. Again, like I promised, this is, I think, the first ban list in a while that actually does a lot. These are big hits, you know? Again, we have them here, right here. Rongo, whatever. Agido ban, tough on Tearlaments. Bishbalkin stops FTKs. Block Dragon, goodbye some of these combo piles. Tearlament Merly banned, yikes for tier. Branded Fusion 2-1, yikes for Branded. Grass 2-1, yikes for Branded and tier. You know, those combination piles. Kelbeck 2-1, painful for tier. Sprite, Jet, and Swapfrog 2-1, painful for Sprite. Pot of Extrav, you know, a slight hit to Labyrinth, doesn't really matter. And then the other hits, you know, whatever. But overall, those are big hits. Those are 3 of the best decks in my opinion. Again, I have the top 5 best decks videos that I bring out every single month. Be sure to be subscribed for that. It's very obvious that they hit a lot of the best decks right now, and this will, in my opinion, actually shift the meta. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.